Yo, what's up, everybody? All right, so today let's focus and let's talk about the two topics, mainly about DC, just in general, and everything that has to do with that. And of course, my comic book, because I'm still working on that. And I'm excited to finally bring that very soon so we can all enjoy it. Hopefully, everybody's having a good Saturday because we're about to get into it. And let's just discuss all of this, because it's very interesting with the way that things are going and how things are shaping out and the way that things are picking up with what this studio wants to do, because the more that they don't care is the more that we're going to keep on going, and we are going to keep on fighting for what we believe in and stuff like that. Jack, what's up? You already know what's up, man. Just here hanging out, just another live stream as usual. So today we're gonna focus on the topic, like I said, DC, because DC is a hot topic, and of course with everything that's going on, and of course this comic book that I'm working on. So I'm excited, trying to get that ASAP to y'all, so we can all enjoy it very soon, and we can get something new going. Inspired with the Snyderverse, of course, and David Ayer, with all that goodness and things like that. Prytoon, what's up? Peacemaker, some nasty shit. Yeah, that's what I keep on hearing. I don't have to see it to know that it's bad. We already know what's up. Superman was trash, and that's what, it will remain as, and that's the legacy that it will always go down. And you know what's funny, but at the same time is interesting, is I just posted that video. If you haven't seen it, check it out, about how to restore the Snyderverse and all that good stuff. And it's wild because I gotta say, at first I was kind of like, damn, what James Gunn did is kind of shady. But now looking at it and reading the comments from everybody, I'm seeing the positive on it. And it's good because now, yo, now we can fully talk about the Snyderverse. And you have all these James Gunn cultists that have no word, no say, and they're still getting triggered because of what I posted with that video. So this just shows you that they just don't care about the Snyderverse. As long as you talk about the Snyderverse, they just want to keep coming at you. And it's funny. It's funny because they know what's up and they know that they're not going to stop it. And now, if you see the comments, there's this one person that asked me, "Oh, but WB owns the Snyderverse." I know. I know. I never said that they don't. What's triggering the James Gunn cultists now is that because now it's not attached to James Gunn and the DCU, now that it's finally completely detached from all that, if, like I've been telling y'all, let's just say that Comcast is the one that's going to buy only the DC IP for HBO Max, yo, what do you think is going to come from that on their streaming service? The Snyderverse. And a lot of things can come from that. This is why it'll be, considered probably like an alternative DC content type of thing. Who knows what the hell it is, but that's the rumor going around. So if they want to do that, nobody, including WB or James Gunn, will have no type of authority over Comcast to say, well, you can't do that because blah, 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 blah. No. If Comcast decides, yo, and they have the money, that they want to end up buying that division just of WB, which is the DC, or get a license to continue more content of the Snyderverse on HBO Max, yo, that's it. It's a win. And again, we will win because the Snyder, community is just amazing. But at the same time, the James Gunn cultists are worried because they know that no matter what they try to do, that they're it's pointless. It's pointless. They keep on telling us to move on. All right, that's it. We're moving on away from what James Gunn is doing, and we're not worried about that. Now we're focused on the restoration of the Snyderverse over on HBO Max. See what I'm saying? And that's what's pissing them off now, because no matter what they try to do, they cannot stop us. And every time that they try to block us, they know that there's no way to stop us. They couldn't stop us with the Snyder Cut. They tried every way possible, and they failed at it. All of these James Gunn cultists and all these fake fans could not stop the movement. We got what we wanted, and that was the Snyder Cut. You can't say that it didn't happen. It happened. No matter what, it happened. That's it. And we already know that with Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, that they already unfollowed James Gunn. They're not following James Gunn anymore. Could this be something? Could something be cooking up behind the closed doors? I'm telling y'all, something is happening. Regardless of what these James Gunn cultists and the Gun Bros and all these shills are saying, they're just mad and they're worried deep down inside because they know that it's coming. And they can't do a damn thing about it. They know that they cannot stop us. They know that we're not gonna stop. That's why I keep saying we will stop at nothing, because no matter what they try to say to stop us, our movement continues to grow more and more by the day. More people want what Zack Snyder put out there, and you could see it. You could read the comments. People are out there, and they want more of it. And this is why, like I said, continue to talk about it. They're really not gonna shut me up. Period. If you James Gunn cultists thought that I was gonna stop with your shitty DCU, and I'm gonna stop now because of what James Gunn did because it's not connected. Yo, I'm looking at the positive now. I'm starting to say, you know what? This is what you clowns and you bozos and all you fake ones wanted. All you weirdos and all you straight up, you know, wannabe fans that call yourself fans, but all you do is support James Gunn. You're the reason why this industry is the way it is. I'm telling you straight up. And a lot of people are fed up. They're just tired of this and they just want good quality. And no matter how much shilling they try to do and they try to portray that DC is number one, it's winning, it's succeeding, and this and that. James Gunn was the savior. I don't care what you say. The numbers at the box office prove everything. And it's a flop. They're celebrating over a flop. They're celebrating like it's the new biggest thing, and like, oh, it's so successful. No, it's not. It's trash. It's been trash since the beginning, starting with the Suicide Squad. I don't care what you tell me. And James Gunn trying to pick and choose what he wants from the DCEU and trying to say that it's not connected, but it's its own thing now. Blah, blah. I don't care. The point is that now we're going to focus more on the Snyderverse. This is why, like I said, that's good that is detached, because this is what we needed. All right. Moving forward, everything from James Gunn that flops, it's on them. But they're still gonna blame the Snyderverse, which is gonna be hilarious because it's like, how are you gonna blame us when you completely said that nothing was connected, that it completely, is detaching from it? But there's some way somehow going to keep on blaming us. But it's all good because we know what we want and we will continue to fight for that. It's just wild. It's wild. And but it's at the same time it's something beautiful because this is what people want and things like that. All right, let me see the comments real quick. You look for TMNT R-rated reboots, want special amazing TMNT live action. Forget Seth. Yeah, that's Seth Rogen. His what's his name? Seth. I can't remember that dude's name. That movie was shit. I really didn't like it. Do you do song requests? It depends. I mean, what type of songs? I listen to everything, so it's all good. Throw something at me, and I'll check it out. You just saw Aaron Fisher's channel and Harsh Critics. Both of them are pissed off, especially Aaron. Yeah, I saw Aaron's video. This guy's a degenerate. Yeah, with Peacemaker. Yeah, completely. He's going to get in trouble, and hopefully it will be his termination. Yeah, for James Gunn. Yeah, that's completely a mess and stuff like that. Was it Starfiend? Hi. Appreciate you for watching. Let's see. Peacemaker is the really trash now. James Gunn have no idea. Nope, he has no idea. Sean, what's up? Wolfpack Nation Gaming. I have not seen Peacemaker season 2. I heard from other YouTubers it's worse. It's too perverted and disgusting. Yeah, that's what I said, the other day, that I don't have to see it to know how bad it is. It's James Gunn, and I'm just not interested. I'm not even going to waste my time, honestly. Clayface might do makeover on DCU. James Gunn will not be happy. James Gunn needs to be fired after the disgusting scene from Peacemaker season 2. But that's what they promote. I told y'all that's what they have, an agenda. Super drunk won't save James Gunn. Hell no. That's the next one too. Fire James Gunn. Yeah, hell yeah. You already know. Everything that they're doing right now, completely look. It's just trash. But that doesn't matter anymore now, because now when you look at the positive, with James Gunn saying that that whole thing with Justice League, that they replaced it now with the Justice Gang, it's clear James Gunn just wanted to replace and do everything in his shitty universe. He just wanted to do everything that he wants, and that's what he's doing. He's having fun, he's having a blast. Meanwhile, the brand continues to sink. He doesn't care about it, and he said it. He doesn't care about these characters. He doesn't care about none of this. All he cares about is just leaving his shitty mark, and it's just completely a disaster. And whatever, they're gonna sink on their own. Honestly, this is why this company continues to tank. And again, their stocks are low. They don't get past $15, and it's been over the 2 years that James Gunn has been there. So nothing is working at that company. Absolutely nothing, and they know it. They just won't admit it. Meanwhile, you got other companies like Paramount fixing and getting their shit together. Meanwhile, WB has no idea what the hell they're doing. And again, you know, coming in January 2026, which is literally like 5 months from now, I've been telling y'all that Comcast, I don't know if it's a deal, I don't know if it's a partnership, whatever the hell they're doing with that thing that they're gonna be helping HBO Max, and they're strictly focusing on that. I'm telling you, I think something is cooking, and it's gonna be exclusive on HBO Max. That's why I made that video, because now, after James gonna clarifying and saying, hey, in other words, his quote unquote friend Zack Snyder, right? This is how James Gunn treats his quote unquote friend, you know? And he's completely erasing the Snyderverse. That's it, He went and reshot that scene of Justice League to bring in, the Justice Gang. It was the most stupidest name. And, he just wanted to put what he wants to do, with this whole DC brand, if you want to say. But it just keeps on getting sloppier. But whatever. This opens the door even more for the Snyderverse to make a strong comeback and much more content exclusive for HBO Max. I get it. Some of y'all are like, yo, they should sell it to Netflix and, all this stuff. Yeah, that's cool. That would be nice. But it's not going to happen, honestly. Because again, like I said, it wouldn't be good for business. I mean, why the hell would you sell one of your big IPs to your competitor? It just doesn't make sense, right? So business wise, it would make much more sense, for the IP to stay still within, DC, but probably either sold or licensed to Comcast, and Comcast has that money. And if Comcast knows that there's a demand, there's fans, and they're willing to spend that money, they're going to be like, yo, let's start making money off of this. They will capitalize. Now, here's a fun fact, too. All right, so yesterday, talking about money, look at this. This is crazy. Superman just made what, 600 million? Oh wow. Okay. So with this whole McFarlane toys, right? The thing finally got funded. That literally got funded in less than a week. And it closed to like 600,000 or something like that, past 600,000, which is insane. I can't wait to finally get that Batmobile from Batman versus Superman, that exclusive from McFarlane Toys. So if you got yours, good. We should be hearing updates and stuff. They already sent me an email updating that they're gonna probably charge us within the next 3 days or something like that. So it's all good. I'm ready. I can't wait for it, and that's a huge win. In 5 days, they were able to get this project funded, literally in less than 7 days. All right. Now you imagine. Let's just speculate. Imagine that they restore the Snyderverse on HBO Max. What do you think is gonna happen? They're going to gain a shitload of subscribers. They're going to get everybody coming. And guess what's going to happen again? The servers are going to crash. Because everybody, including the James Gunn cultists and all these shills, are going to be curious. They're going to be coming out the woods and be like, oh, wow, the Snyderverse. Oh, on HBO Max, let's see. Let's check it out. Let's see what's all this about. Just so I can talk about it on my channel. Because that's how they are. That's how they are. They're just going to be, oh, I want to see what this is all about. The same thing like the Snyder Cut. Remember that mysterious Snyder Cut that would never happen. Oh, the Snyder Cut isn't going to ever happen. Move along. Remember how they said all that bullshit? And that's what they're saying right now, right? Oh, move on because the Snyderverse isn't ever coming back and blah, blah, blah. It's the same trash that they keep on talking, right? Joke's on them. While they celebrate a flop and they think that they come out victorious, the real, quality is making a comeback, and it will. I'm telling y'all, it's going to happen. And I get it. Some of y'all I've been seeing the comments, and some of y'all are like, oh, I only want theatrical release. Yes, I do too. But shit, I would take on HBO Max over anything right now, you know? And that doesn't scream desperation. No, no, it doesn't. Because while you have DC with these theatrical runs that are flopping and tanking, what do you think people on the other side, if I was on the other side and I would be an investor and I would be like, yo, I'm about to spend all this money on this shitty company. How do I make money back? Simple. You cut the middle person. That's the theaters, the movie theaters. Perfect example you have is Disney Plus and of course the pioneer, which is Netflix. Netflix puts out every content that they want, movies, whatever it is, and they don't have to pay no movie theater. They keep all the money in house. They don't have to pay the middle person, which is the movie theaters. What do you think that WB wants? They want that money too. Now, if you have somebody like Comcast that doesn't have the debt, they have the hunger, they have the passion, they have everything, including the money. What do you think is gonna stop them from restoring the Snyderverse? Nothing. Not even WB, because WB needs money. So they're gonna be like, yo, can I have some of that money too? They're gonna be like, all right, but how about you sell us or you lease us the IP, for a certain amount of time to do content. The same way that they're doing with House of Dragons and The Last of Us and all these shows that they do on HBO Max. They could do the same thing with the Snyderverse. And the first things, like I said, they could kick it off is by releasing the air cut. And then from there, boom, the ball's already rolling. And that's what the James Gunn cultists don't like. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear people like me bringing you positivity. That's why. Because they can't stand that. They don't like the reality. They don't like the facts. They want to hear bullshit. They want to see what James Gunn is doing, which is just garbage, trash. All that disgusting agenda is what they want to promote. These bastards are no different than James Gunn. That's exactly what it is. It's all about that. James Gunn got fired for a reason from Disney. Yet, these are the same assholes that are supporting him, and they're disgusting, and if not worse than James Gunn. And again, like I've said it several times, if you get offended by what I'm saying, that's your problem, not my problem. I'm saying it and I'm calling it how it is. You James Gunn cultists just don't want nothing of the Snyderverse to be around. But joke's on you, because as long as Zack Snyder's making movies, keep this in mind. Always remember, the next movie that Zack Snyder has coming out, and the next one after that, and the next one after that, it doesn't have to be DC related. The Snyderverse lives, period. There's no stopping that. There's no stopping none of that. And that's what these James Gunn fanatics are pissed about. That no matter what, Zack puts out, they're always trying to talk crap, and they just can't tolerate that the quality's being out there and the fans are out there supporting it. Remember, before Rebel Moon came out, they were talking all type of shit. They were already, review bombing it and saying, oh, it's the worst and blah, blah, blah. Jokes on them. Meanwhile, Netflix is laughing because they're making money. Their stocks are over $1,000 a share. $1,000 a fucking share. Think about that. Meanwhile, WB's shares can't even pass $15. They can't even get to $15. How ridiculous is that? The moment that Paramount announced and they're saying all these rumors that Michael Bay's coming back and he's going to direct, boom, their stocks have been shooting up. What does that tell you? That's what sells. That's what's making money. That's working for Netflix. And then you have these bozos coming out and saying, oh, but, because Rebel Moon is dead. No, the fuck it's not. Zack Snyder's just busy with other projects right now. That's why he don't have time to work on Rebel Moon 3. Have you heard from Netflix directly say that it's done? That they're not doing anything? No. Exactly. See what I'm saying? So these James Gunn cultists and all these shills love to come up with fake news. Because that's how they are. So they're the real monkeys like you saw in Superman. All those monkeys you saw typing, that's exactly who they are. That's those trolls right there. Because they know that they can't stop it. And again, explaining, if Comcast says, yo, WB, you're in deep shit. You're about to go bankrupt. Either you sell us the IP of DC and we're interested, with the DCEU and the Snyderverse and the air cut because we know that there's fans, and you'll get a percentage from that because the sales that come in and stuff like that because of the license. What do you think WB's going to do? Say no? Hell nah. They're going to be like, yo, that money's looking good right now because we need it. Exactly. It's either you lease the license to Comcast on HBO Max, or guess what? Your ass is going up for sale, period. And I don't think WB, especially those executives and all those people on the board, are going to want that. Especially the shareholders. They're going to be like, hell no, we want our money back. Because if they lose all that, guess what they're gonna lose? They're gonna lose all those royalties. They're gonna lose all that money that's coming from it. You think that they're gonna waste their time and say, yeah, let's hold back? Nah. David Zaslav has been holding off for a while. But then at the end of the year, he's getting a big ass, fat ass check, right? James Gunn just recently announced that he's gonna get a big fat pay cut at the end of the year. So if these people are getting a big fat ass check, what do you think the company wants? They want money. All right. So how do you go about it? Yo, here's that license that you want. Do whatever you want. You think WB's gonna be able to have authority to Comcast after Comcast pays and say, yo, we paid this amount of money. Now we get to do the fuck we want to do with this IP. And what do you think that they're gonna do? They're gonna build off of it. They're gonna make even more money. That's the difference. And guess what the fans are gonna do? The real fans. They're gonna go out there and support it and watch it. Meanwhile, James Gunn's DCU is gonna continue to tank, and it's gonna keep on flopping and failing and fully falling apart. Now, what's gonna happen from this? This is what I'm telling y'all. Those things can happen, and it could get revived fully on HBO Max. They cut the middle person, which is the theaters. They keep all the money in house from the subscribers. They're putting out content just like they're doing with The Last of Us, a weekly thing. And they have so many characters that they can do it. That's why I say it doesn't make sense for WB to go ahead and quote unquote sell it to Netflix. That doesn't make no damn sense. If I was a business person on the board, I wouldn't. I'll be like, hell no. Nah. Let's just keep it in house and let's do it our damn selves. We have the studio. We have, the actors on standby. We have the director. Yo, let's just do it ourselves. That's what can come from that. That's why when people say, oh, sell it, it's a good cause. I'm not against it. But it just business wise wouldn't make sense, because why the hell would they sell it to the competitor for the competitor to make the money instead of them? Sure, they will get a percentage, but it probably won't even be that much. Now, if they get to keep it in house, they get a bigger percentage. And then, of course, when shit goes down and it doesn't work with James Gunn, especially with his contract coming up next year, what do you think they're going to have to do? Like we've been hearing, that David Zaslav has a plan B. He's going to be like, yo, that plan B is looking good right about now, because we know that the fans are hungry for the Snyderverse. Yo, let's just restore it and let's all make money. Yeah, that's what you should have done from the beginning. That's what I'm saying. A lot of things can come from this. It can happen. That's why we have to keep on staying positive. And when you have all these James Gunn cults just being salty and triggered about it, it's just showing you that, hey, focus more on your shitty James Gunn's DCU. Stop worrying about us. Why do y'all keep on coming here? And what really, really grinds my gears is, yo, I've already said it. I do not support James Gunn. I do not support the DCU. I'm only talking and focused about Zack Snyder, the Ayer cut, Suicide Squad with David Ayer, and the DCEU. That's it. That's all I care about. I don't care about what James Gunn is doing. I'm not watching, and I didn't watch, and I don't plan on watching Peacemaker. I don't have to be like, yo, let me watch it so I can give my full review. No, I don't have to. The trailer alone already told me what that trash is going to be, and I didn't have to see it. And now hearing everybody talking about it, yo, I told y'all, it's only going to get worse. That's what James Gunn brings to the table. He doesn't bring quality. He just brings whatever agenda he's trying to push and promote. That's all. It doesn't work. It's not working. And in the end, it's just not gonna do what the numbers that they're planning and stuff like that. It's just completely, insane and stuff like that. Peacemaker's really trash now. Yeah, they have no idea. Yep. Exactly. Let me see. Try to catch up with the comments and stuff. James Gunn will make Batman dance party brave and bold. Yeah, most likely. David is crying in his room. Now it's James Gunn's fault. Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. No matter what happens, Snyderverse is in demand. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I agree with you. Kids are smart nowadays, and they will come across that scene accidentally. It's absolutely disgusting. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, kids are very smart nowadays. You'd be surprised. They always have a way. They find a way. Who knows how the hell, but again, that's what the DC hired and WB. So now they're going to have to deal with it. Disney did the right thing to fire James Gunn. Now I know why. Exactly. That's exactly why. That's who James Gunn is. He's sick. He's twisted. He's perverted. He's raunchy. He's disgusting. He's generic. He's basic. He's like the worst of the worst, honestly. Like I said, he's bottom of the barrel type of scum. Peacemaker, Justice League, just do the same team joke. Exactly, and they will make billions off money. Yep, Matt Reeves is a baby. Won't stop delaying Batman. I'm in England. We can't get HBO Max. Wow, y'all still can't get HBO Max. What's going on with that? Damn, that's pretty messed up. It'll be so funny when the Snyderverse comes back and it makes more money than James Gunn's DC. Yeah, exactly. That's how come the McFarlane toys literally in 5 days, like it got fully funded, and at the time it was like 400,000. It passed 400,000, and that's less than a week. Imagine when they restore the Snyderverse. That shit's gonna make so much money. Like there's money literally sitting there on the table, but it just takes the right person, like how we got the Snyder cut. It just takes the right people to get their act and say, you know what, there's money here. It's time to cash in and do what we got to do. DC has become so sick. Yep, exactly. James Gunn fan won't stop talking. Want to see comic accurate costumes. Yeah. And that whole comic accurate thing doesn't always work. It really isn't. Film is wild, ain't it? Yeah, completely. I agree with you. James Gunn shows like to make things up. That's all they do. All they do is make things up. James Gunn was talking about what? Adria Arjona, Wonder Woman, but can't happen to cast Aquafina. That wow, that happens. Honestly, I don't really care. Honestly, at this point no more. I'm praying they fire James Gunn soon. Yeah, once his contract is up, I think that's what's gonna happen. They're just gonna write it out, and then they're just not gonna renew it at the end. That's what the rumors going around and stuff like that. Peter Safran won't talk DCU. Yeah, notice how he's quiet right now. He's not saying anything. He's straight up quiet right now. Peacemaker's disgusting and garbage. I agree with you. David Zaslav loves James Gunn. DCU, that's crazy. Yeah, he's another sick asshole, honestly. Fabian, what's up? Restore Snyderverse. Hell yeah, all day. You already know it. David Zaslav don't care about DC. Nah. But he needs to start caring because if not, he's gonna be without a job and he's not gonna have all that money left. So, they need to do what they need to do. We will see Zack Snyder Justice League 2 and 3, and we will stop at nothing. Hell yeah, for sure we're going to see that. We are going to see that for sure. There's no stopping it. James Gunn would try to announce Robert Pattinson put the masked Batman to be part of the DCU like Robert Pattinson as Doctor Doom. That would be freaking hilarious if that happens. James Gunn's want to do multiverses Justice League MCU style. Yeah, and it's not working. Now that it's fully detached and apart from the Snyderverse, that's a good thing. Now I'm looking at it from the positive, and we don't have to be associated with that slop because again, we're quality. The Snyderverse is quality, period. And what James Gunn is doing is just straight up disgusting, and it's just beyond slop. It's just completely a disaster. But that's what they wanted. That's what they're gonna be getting. Ray, what's up? The true DCU must return. Hell yeah, it's gonna come back, and it's gonna come back stronger. This is why, like I said, I know and I'm convinced that behind closed doors, things are cooking. I don't care what anybody tells me. I look past that. I'm focused and I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. Okay, James Gunn, thank you. Thank you for clarifying and saying that Zack Snyder's, what is it, Justice League is not connected to anything of what you're doing. Good. I'm happy with that. You know why? Because now we can focus on what's already there and pick up from where things left off. This is why I made that video earlier. I get it. Some of y'all are like, yo, I don't want Zachary Levi to come back as Shazam and whatnot. All right, that's cool. I understand that. But let me say something. We haven't seen Zachary Levi under the leadership and the guidance of Zack Snyder. See what I'm saying? And the same way that Zack Snyder brought Jared Leto to reprise his role as the Joker in the Snyder Cut, what makes you think that Zack won't give us a badass Shazam and Zachary Levi can redeem himself? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. And the same thing with The Rock. I get it. Some of y'all be like, yo, The Rock this and The Rock that. Okay, but let's give credit to him. He was able to pull and bring back Henry Cavill. That's it. And Henry Cavill, I don't care if it's from Joss Whedon's version, the Snyder version, it's Henry Cavill. It's the Superman from the DCEU, from this timeline. Man of Steel. That's it, period. And It doesn't make a difference. The point is that it's still Henry Cavill. The Rock didn't bring David Cornsweet. The Rock didn't bring, some other actor. No, let's give the dude credit. This dude did what he had to do, whatever he had to do, and he brought back Henry Cavill. Things were gonna go back to the Snyderverse, and things were starting to shape up. That's why when you see Black Adam, besides the jokes, take away all the stupid jokes in the movie of Black Adam, it's a solid film. For it to be a PG-13, yo, they pushed the limit. That shit is really like on the R rating. And I think originally they wanted to bring it out as an R-rated version, but by that time you have James Gunn in the background, so of course he's giving his little famous notes. And look at what we got. But it's still a decent movie. Compare that to what we've been getting with James Gunn. I mean, come on, that's like day and night. You can see the difference. I'll take any day what Walter Hamada was giving us over the bullshit that James Gunn is giving us. Let's be real. Let's call it how it is. Some of y'all might not agree, and that's cool. But you have to see it. At least, these are the same people from the same universe. You get what I'm saying? Not like what James Gunn is doing. James Gunn literally went out of his way and he reshot that whole scene from Peacemaker to bring in, his Justice Gang. That tells you everything. James Gunn was just like, yo, I'm going to erase everything that Zack Snyder, his quote unquote friend, right? That's how he treats his friend. Oh, I'm going to erase everything that he did there. That's how you respect the past? Get out of here, you clown. And that's how you embrace the future? Come on, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. See what I'm saying? And that's the same thing with all these disgusting James Gunn fanatics. They're the same thing. And if not worse. And that's what they wanted. But okay, good. It is what it is. As long as we're no longer, part of that nasty slop, all right, good. James Gunn, do whatever the hell you want to do. That's you. When it tanks, that's all on you. The fans are going to go after quality. The fans are going to keep on fighting and want to support quality. Meanwhile, while the DCU with James Gunn is sinking, tanking, and straight up about to flatline, we're here telling the studio, whoever wants to acquire it, And like I've been telling y'all, that rumor that's going around with Comcast, that everything's going to be starting in January 2026. We have to see what's going to happen. And I get it. Some of y'all might be like, yo, but the theaters... Look, I'm going to be honest with y'all. The theaters are just... If not, it's going to become a thing of the past. You might be like, oh, but hold on. How? This and that. Yo, after the pandemic, a lot of people are not going to the theaters like they used to no more. This is why you see these movies that they're not making the numbers that they used to. The last movie that I remember, like at least comic book that made the billion was what? Spider-Man No Way Home. And that was during the pandemic. After that, nothing has been making those numbers anymore. And Marvel has put out 3 movies so far. I haven't seen them. And I'm a fan of all these type of movies, but they just don't appeal to me. I'm just not interested, And you can't put Minecraft in that category. You can't be like, oh, it almost made a billion. Good that they made those numbers, but that's not a comic book movie, And the same thing with Barbie. You can't put Barbie in that category. You can't be like, yo, they made $1 billion after the pandemic. Yeah, that's right, they did, But that's not a superhero movie, The Batman wasn't able to make those numbers, and Joker 2 wasn't able to make those numbers. And remember, Joker, the first movie, that made $1 billion, but that's right before the pandemic, And hell, not even Sonic is able to make those high numbers, to the billions and stuff. The same thing with the Super Mario Brothers movie. That just tells you. And then what happens when the streaming comes out? They get high numbers because people have gotten comfortable, and I'm one of them. I prefer to watch a movie at home just because I'm like, yo, I'm chilling. I can pause it. I can take a break. I can come back. Whatever it is. Opposed to being in the theaters where you have people in the back seat kicking you, sticky floors, popcorn everywhere. You got a baby that doesn't shut up in the background. You have people that they're sitting in your seats when you arrive and they're straight up. Haven't you had that experience? You go to the movies. First of all, you got to deal with that shitty traffic. Second, you gotta, like, if you didn't buy your ticket online or you didn't get it in advance, good luck if you can find one, or probably sold down. You're like, damn, I'm not able to see it till like probably a week later or whatever. It's a hassle. It's a hassle. Then you gotta, find a parking spot, and then it's like that. It's always something, and let's not put the food prices on that, with what you want to eat. And I feel bad for people that have a big family, because ticket prices, the food, it's so damn expensive. It's like, yo, I might as well just go to Disney. You get what I'm saying? It's like, damn, what you gonna spend, like almost $200, just for one movie. And a movie like freaking Superman is like $30 a pop. It's like, yo, what the hell? That's insane, And then that's what they're doing with the streaming now. So looking at it, as a business standpoint, I get it. Not everybody wants to support digital, but unfortunately, the future is digital, and the future is AI. You know how many ads I get with AI? You know how many videos you see on YouTube that are straight up promoting AI? Even when, as a content creator, this is the part that you guys don't see. On our end, they even promote that. They're like, "Yo, you want to enable auto AI?" It's like, no, like I don't want to do that shit. You get what I'm saying? It's becoming now a thing of a daily use. I know a lot of y'all, don't deny it. I know a lot of y'all are probably using that chat, whatever it's called, and probably if you're in school, you're using all these AI programs and stuff like that, just because it's more convenient for all of us. We're already seeing it in the video game industry. Everything is being streamed. When you have events going online and they're live, it's much more easier and cheaper for them. And the same thing is happening. That's why the video game industry is where it's at right now. They're making all this money with DLC and everything because they're like, yo, we know people are gonna pay. So that's where they get us. We're part of the problem also. I know I'm part of it because from time to time I'll buy it. I'll never own it because I know it's digital, but you know that you have it for the time being. And that's what these companies are doing. You can't sit here and say, yo, I'm not gonna go watch Rebel Moon because it's digital. No bullshit. I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna pay my membership or my subscription or whatever, but I'm still gonna watch it. You get what I'm saying? How many of us didn't went and subscribed to HBO Max when the Snyder Cut came out? We all did. Even the trolls did that. You know why? Because people wanted to see it. People were curious. People wanted to see. That's why you see that the servers on HBO Max, they crashed because it was too much. The traffic was insane. We don't see that happening with anything of James Gunn. We don't see none of that stuff because it tells you everything is heading towards that way. Now, if you see Comcast from a business standpoint, just put yourself in the position of an executive or somebody, and you're like, yo, how do we cut the middle person where we can make the most money and we could be successful? Simple. We just stream it online. That's it. People are going to pay regardless. And that's what they're doing. People are paying. If you have people paying Uber Eats, what do you think that's also doing? That's being part of the problem. Anybody that's right now watching and listening wherever you are around the world, and if you have Uber Eats or Lyft, you're part of the problem too. I've used it, but I don't rely on it because you have people that are like, yo, you know what? Damn, let me pay for this $5 meal, but it becomes a $25 meal. You know why? Because people have gotten lazy, and that's the same thing with the entertainment business. We've all gotten lazy. You know, this is why they're removing physical media from stores because people are not buying them. Not enough people. There's still people that are buying it, but not enough. So these companies are like, you know what? We'll just put it on streaming and we'll charge them the same thing, if not more. And people are buying it because this generation only relies on memory cards and storage and external drives and internal memory and all that stuff just so they can fill it up and put more stuff in it. Because this generation isn't about collecting, isn't about, yo, I want to buy this physical. No, they don't care. They're just like, yo, I saw it. All right, that's it. Go to the next one. And when they're done, they just delete it and then they re-download it or whatever. That's the same thing that's happening with the movie industry. All these movie theaters are slowly shutting down. I don't know if y'all been keeping up, but there's a lot of movie theaters. There's where I'm at, there's a big AMC, keyword AMC theater, that's shutting down. And this one has been around for over 30 years and they're shutting down. They're completely shutting down. There was another AMC not long ago from where or around where I live, and they shut that one too. And that's before the pandemic. And that's just telling you, like people are not going out like they used to like that, especially to go watch these movies. Because one, there's not enough good movies to go watch like that. People are just like, yo, and then it's too expensive. People are like, yo, I can't be spending that much. And that's understandable. But these greedy corporations don't care. And then when it comes down to the quality, should I get started on the quality? People don't care about it like that no more. because everything is TikTok, everything has been social media, that our attention is only, yo, I only have like 3 seconds. I only have max 10 seconds of attention span because we're just used to scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. But then when we see good content, it's like, yo, I want more of it, but it's not there no more because the people are not supporting it like that. But then when you got slapped like what James Gunn is giving you, dudes starting off with orgies in the beginning of an episode, from what I keep hearing and stuff like that. Yo, like what the hell? That's what this generation they only care about. Yo, what about the characters? Like I want to see these characters fight, go at it, like, but it's not like that anymore. You see? So therefore everything is being affected. So now you have these corporations and they're like, yo, you know what? We're just gonna go and do it on streaming. This is why you're seeing that Paramount is doing it. Paramount Plus. You have what do you call it? Disney Plus. And even like that with Disney Plus, from what I was reading, they're gonna shut down Hulu, because it's too much. It's way too much. Disney has gotten so greedy that now it's literally come back to haunt them. And when you have companies like HBO Max, yo, you have the streaming service, but where's the damn content? That's the thing. Where's the content? What's the use of having a streaming service of HBO Max? Where the hell's the content? Tell me where. Why should I subscribe to it? There's no content. What, The Last of Us? I don't want to see that. The Woke of Us? Like straight up, like I don't want to see that shit, honestly. And what? I'm gonna go rewatch the House of Cards or whatever that shit is with the dragons and stuff. I don't care about that, you know. And it's just showing you, yo, you have the streaming service, but you're not utilizing it. Disney has all these shows, all these movies, all this content. One is too expensive. Two, most of it is like I don't care about it. So it's like I don't even want it. And Netflix has so much content that it's like, yo, I might as well just give them my money. And then you have also YouTube where it's like, yo, you have to pay so you don't get ads and all that stuff. So it's crazy. So it's like people can't keep up with all this. People are picking and choosing, and that's understandable. But when it comes down to all of this, honestly, it's just like, yo, like it's all about the quality and giving the customer what they want. And these companies know. They know what's up. They're like, yo, people are watching this. People want this. They don't want this. They're not watching it. It's clear. Superman is not what the audience wants. That's not the Superman that people want. But then you're gonna have these shield companies and shield articles coming out saying it's the number one, like they're doing right now with Peacemaker. They're exaggerating. They're saying Peacemaker is a perfect number 10 and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that don't mean crap. That don't mean nothing. Then when you see it, you're like, damn, this was disgusting. This was crap. This was slop. This is whatever. You see what I'm saying? And then when people you read on the comments, they're like, yo, it's crazy how WB didn't want to continue with the Snyderverse, and that was quality. Instead, they want to go with what James Gunn is doing. Orgies are okay, you know, but screw me as a fan because I want quality, right? You see what I'm saying? So, what do you think, that Comcast isn't interested if they can acquire it? Of course they are. And then meanwhile, you're gonna have these James Gunn trolls coming out and saying, "Yo, no, stop, give up." Oh wow, why? Because you're threatened. Because you know that more people are gonna be watching the Snyderverse and supporting that instead of the slap that James Gunn's giving us. That's what's bothering them. That's what's triggering them. You know? How about you just focus on your shitty DCU and leave us with the Snyderverse? What's it to you, anyways? If we want the Snyderverse and we keep on talking about it, that's what completely throws me off course. I'm like, what's it to these James Gunn cultists that I continue to talk about the Snyderverse? What like, are you in your feelings, deep in your feelings? Like, what's the problem? Like, I don't get it. Like, what triggers you to the last nerve to say, you know what, that I'm coping? How the fuck am I coping? Tell me. You don't even know how to use the word cope in a sentence. These James Gunn cultists are the most stupidest type of, like, fans in, like, in this entertainment side. They think that everything that they say, it has to be how they say it. But in reality, it's the opposite. They'll settle for anything. That's why I say, you'll serve them a bowl of diarrhea and they eat it up. Can I get more? That's what they want. And then they come here and complain, and they're like, yo, completely, like, yo, like, oh, why are you still talking about the Snyderverse? Because that's what I want to talk about. Like, what the hell? Like, you don't like it, go kick rocks. What you want me to tell you, honestly? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I'm, like, so confused on that. And then now that everything is detached, here I come and make this video, the one that I posted today. But you have the James Gunn still, coming out the fans, and they're like, yo, oh, like, stop, drop it, move on. Yo, what's it to you? This is what we want. That's what we're gonna keep on fighting for. Like, I don't get why it pisses them off so much. Why? Because we're not enjoying the slop that you guys are putting? No, I'm not gonna bend the knee. I'm not gonna bow down to none of that garbage, honestly. And that's what a lot of these fake YouTubers have done. They've given up, and now they're on the bandwagon of James Gunn. But that little bandwagon isn't going to get far because things are about to change. I'm telling y'all right now. This industry is shifting, things are shifting, and this whole entertainment business is constantly shifting left and right. And the more that we get into it, and the way that these shareholders are seeing that they're not making the money that they thought they were going to make with James Gunn, I'm telling y'all straight up, those things are going to shift fast, and they're going to shift very quickly. So the studio's like, yo, what do we do? You know exactly what you need to do. You need to go back to what was working. And that was the Snyderverse. There's no denying it. There's no denying that. They know that they need the Snyderverse. They just won't admit it. That's the difference. They won't admit it and say, yeah, that's what we want. But in due time, it is going to happen. And they know it. And the point is, that's why I continue to talk about it. Some of y'all might be like, oh, you're always talking about it and it hasn't happened, this and that. Yeah, exactly. It hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. The Snyder Cut didn't happen in overnight. It didn't happen in a year. It took 5 long years. Oh, the air cut isn't going to get released. It's about to be 10 years. So, that doesn't matter. There's always hope. That's the difference. These James Gunn fanatics don't want nobody to have hope because they want you to accept whatever they're putting out. They want you to bend the knee just like them. No, I refuse to, and I will not bend the knee. I don't bend the knee for no clowns. I straight up don't. I really don't. I don't put up with none of these clowns, and that's what they want. They want for you to bend the knee like them. No, I refuse to do that. I'm not gonna bow down before James Gunn. James Gunn can suck it, honestly. The DCU can suck it. I don't care about it. I'm gonna keep on fighting for the Snyderverse. And you don't hear a lot of people talking about that no more. And it's kind of it's kind of sometimes a little discouraging just because, damn, some people just give up way too easily. I don't know. I'm probably built different. So I guess like I just have thick skin. It doesn't bother me, but I keep on going, and that's what they don't want. They want me to give up. They want me to stop, but I refuse to do that. This is why, like I say, while staying on the topic and changing the topic, this is why I'm doing this comic book. This is why I'm still working on it. And it's inspired by the Snyderverse. It's inspired by what David Ayer gave us with Suicide Squad. All of that style, that tone, that the slow-mo shots, I'm putting all that shit in this. I'm telling you straight up. The blueprint is Zack Snyder. That's it. You won't hear the mainstream saying that. You won't hear the shills saying and acknowledging that. Oh, because no, that you can't say that. You just can't say that. Come on. Come on. Let's give credit to where credit is due, honestly. And if it wasn't like that, then none of these companies would be working with Zack. So if Zack is so bad at what he does, why is he getting work in Hollywood? How come he's doing this movie that he's working on that he just announced? How come he's doing a UFC? Think about that. The biggest brand in entertainment business, right, with sports, is the UFC brand. These people are so big that they ended up buying the WWE. That's nuts. Who would have thought? I remember growing up watching WWE wrestling and stuff like that, and they started off small, and then they started buying out, the competitors and things like that, and look at where they are. They own the mainstream of wrestling. Who would have thought that things would have shifted, and the mighty, meaning WWE, would have fallen, and then here you have a competitor, but at the same time, it's different. But I remember because if you watch wrestling, Brock Lesnar, when he came, he was from the UFC. And then I was like, damn, that's crazy. Now the UFC owns WWE. That's insane. And the same way how that happens, it's happened in this business. Who would have thought that Disney would have become the monster that they are today? And they were going to buy out Fox just so they can get back their characters. And now they're fighting. They're fighting so bad till this day, trying to get the Hulk, but that's not going to happen. And they're trying to get Spider-Man, and that's not going to happen. because they're like, yo, we sold that back in the 90s. Until this day, they still don't have those characters. They, meaning Disney, has to still pay for a license with Universal just to use the Hulk in their movies. And the same thing with Spider Man, because Sony owns Spider Man. You know, they own the rights to the movies and the video games. And it's just wild, you know? It's like, and what do you think? WB isn't heading down that route? Of course they are. If they keep it up, eventually they're going to end up doing what, Disney did back in the 90s. And they're going to have to start selling off. And that's what they're doing. They're selling off assets because they're trying to pay off their debt. But their debt is so high that Barbie, Dune, Minecraft, all these movies that they've been putting out, Joker, that made $1 billion or close to $1 billion, still isn't saving them. And that tells you everything, you know? That's when you see that they're celebrating, meaning the James Gunn fans, that Superman is successful. No, it's not. No, it's not. 600 million, it's been at that for like 3 weeks already, you know? So it's like they're cheering for something that hasn't really fully happened. And it's telling you, honestly, you know? Yeah, you're right. I agree with you, Sam. Sooner or later, they will join us in the sun. Yeah, exactly. Just like in Man of Steel. I remember that quote. What a beautiful quote, you know? And was that created? I'm telling you, it was just ahead of its time, you know? But you can't do that in this industry. You can't deliver quality because of course, you have Holly weird, Holly woke, that if you don't have an agenda, then they try to come at you and they try to silence you. This is why, like I said, I am taking a stand against the comic industry when it comes to the comic books. This is why I'm putting all and everything into it. So when you guys see something very soon, like I told y'all, I promise, and I'm a man of my word. In this week, you will receive online for free. I'm gonna hook y'all up with 3 free pages of the actual comic that I'm working on, just so you can see that I'm a person of my word, and you can see that what I announced literally a year ago is finally fulfilling and it's happening. And you'll be able to enjoy that because once everything, hopefully, that I'm trying to launch by next month in September, is where we finally start something new, something different, something original, something entertainment that's going to be fun for the hardcore, if you want to say, type of fan that likes this type of content. Because while you have stupidity out there and you have agendas that they're pushing and promoting, I'm here focused on giving and delivering quality. All right, what's this character going to be about? What is this going to be focused on? This has nothing to do with no agendas. I'm telling y'all right now. As I write every page and I draw every drawing in it, literally, what you're gonna see coming this week, once I give y'all for free and you can see it, that right there has been literally drawn by myself. It's been from the top of my head that I literally came up with that. And I'm amazed seeing like, damn, this is finally coming together. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I know that they're gonna like it, meaning you guys, the audience, because it's just good entertainment. You're not gonna have no type of agenda in it. What other comic is out there promoting and telling you, yo, get and buy my comic because it doesn't have no agenda? Buy my comic because it doesn't have no bullshit. Buy my comic because it's real solid, badass entertainment. None. Because everything out there in DC and Marvel and all these mainstream companies, all they do is, here, this is the agenda that we're pushing. Fuck that. I'm tired of that. I'm here to change that bullshit. I'm here to bring good entertainment again because we need that. I'm sick and tired of all these agendas. I'm sick and tired of all this stupidity that's going around in the entertainment business. I don't care about sexuality. I don't care about what agenda you're pushing. I don't care about what color you represent. I just want to see these characters get down and do what they need to do within their universe. If this character stands for this and is fighting for this, damn it, that's what I want to see take place in the story. The story doesn't have to be perfect. The plot doesn't have to be perfect. None of that shit has to sometimes make sense in the sense of, well, this is connected or it's not connected. I just want to see that character, whoever it is, portray who that character is. Make me feel part of that story. Make me feel part of that world. Make me believe that what I'm reading, I can forget about reality. I don't have to worry about the problems and the troubles and the struggles of every day. I just want to be able to pick up a comic book, watch a movie, play a video game without no type of agenda. I just want to see and like literally dive into the entertaining side. This is why sometimes when I play certain video games, like it kind of grinds my gears where the video game is like real life. I'm like, hold on. I don't want my video game to be like real life. I want this shit to take me away from real life. I want it to take me in this universe and believe that I'm there. That's the whole point of entertainment. It wants, I want that shit to make me forget about my problems. You get what I'm saying? And I don't want to be like, yo, I'm reading, I'm still reading. Like the character, like, where's the action? Like, yo, let's get to the point. You can't skip. Like, yo, I want to play. I want to play. By the time you're ready to play, it's like, yo, I'm already bored. You get what I'm saying? Because that's how we are. We just want to, get to the point type of thing. And when they don't deliver that, I'm like, damn, what a shame. What a shame. And that's what this whole entertainment business has become. They don't care about delivering quality. They just care about, yo, how can we kind of piss off the fans? That's how I take it. I'm like, yo, you're really not concerned about us. Oh, but they're really concerned when they want our money. See what I'm saying? It's like, yo, it's an even exchange. You give me quality, and I'll give you money, and I'll keep on supporting it. The moment I start seeing some type of agenda or garbage or message where I'm like, oh, okay, I see where this is heading, that's it. And that's what James Gunn has been doing. That's what WB has been doing for years with the brand. They don't care anymore about us, the fans. They just care about, yo, how can we sell you a lie and come back for it? Because that's what James Gunn is doing with his DCU. They had quality. They had quality with the Snyderverse. But then WB was like, oh no, we can't deliver that because, oh, Rotten Tomatoes said that it's too dark. Oh, Rotten Tomatoes said it's too depressing. Rotten Tomatoes got their feelings hurt. So we have to believe a company that's the logo of a tomato that says, hey, this is not good. That's a no-no. Get the hell out of here, honestly. You really have to rely on a company with a tomato logo to tell you, hey, this movie is fresh or this movie is rotten? No. How about let me look at it and I'll tell you straight up that movie was trash. Straight up. That's what it is. But they can't because they have an agenda to push. And you're seeing it. You're clearly seeing it. This is why you see all these fans that are upset and they're triggered about what James Gunn is putting out with the content that he's putting out. What do you think is gonna be next? It's gonna be even more raunchier. It's going. I told y'all. I was like, you're gonna see Peacemaker is gonna be even worse than season one. And what do we have? That. And I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it right now. I think I said it in one of the live streams. From here to November 2023, I mean, 23, 26, you're going to see. Don't be surprised if we get a season 3 of Peacemaker just because it's James Gunn. And don't be surprised if we end up getting a season 4 just because it's James Gunn. From here to a year and probably like 3 months, he can do that. He can do that just because it's him. And he's going to be focused on just what he wants to do. Notice, he's not caring about Superman anymore. It's all about Peacemaker. And it's been about Peacemaker for a while. Because remember, with the Suicide Squad, that's what he brought that character in. And he's so focused on that character. Like, if there's nothing else, there's no other character. It's only Peacemaker. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is what DC has become. And they push and promote him and everything. But again, it's part of the agenda. It's like Joker said in The Dark Knight. It's all part of the plan. And that's exactly what this company is doing. Peacemaker is promoting all of that agenda. They're trying to hide behind, yo, Peacemaker's a badass. But low key, he's straight up pushing the agenda. That's what it is. If you don't see that, honestly, you'll never understand the point of view that I'm coming at you with that. And that's what I'm sick and tired of. I'm tired of reading comics where, oh, guess what? It's an agenda. I'm tired of playing video games. Oh, guess what? This character, it's an agenda. I'm tired of watching movies. Oh, guess what? There's another agenda. See what I'm saying? You can't listen to music because, again, guess what? An agenda. You see what I'm saying? So it's like everything is just completely, saturated with an agenda. And it's time to take a stand against that. It's time to show them, hey, look, independent creators, content creators, we have a voice and we have talent also. And like I said, and I've been saying it, my comic is not for everybody, and I'm okay with that. I'm not here for everybody. I'm only for the ones that understand and can appreciate what's going to be put out with that with that comic that I'm working on. And I'm okay with it. Whether it's one person or 1,000 people, it's all good with me. You know, the point is that there's an audience for that, and I'm cool with that because, again, once things start picking up with that, I have plans for that, and it's gonna happen. It's coming. And that's what I'm seeing now. Like, I can't believe it. A year ago, I announced that literally I was working on a comic. Like, I'm looking at the time as I'm drawing, sketching, and I'm like, yo, I drew this last year, literally on 8/28, and we're literally a few days away from that. And I'm like, yo, like, this is crazy. Finally it's coming together. Things are finally falling into place, and I'm excited. I can't wait to share with y'all. And very soon we'll all be able to enjoy that stuff. I'm really looking forward to it and stuff like that. And in the end, it's like I'm more focused on, yo, what are the fans gonna think of this page? What are they going to be talking about in this page? Like, I can hear it already. Like, what are people going to be saying from this scene? What's going on in this scene? Why this happened? What is it leading up to? Does it connect with this? Is it with this and with that? That's what I'm thinking about while I'm drawing all these drawings. I'm not thinking about, yo, let me push an agenda because that's what I want people to know about. No, fuck that. I want people to be like, yo, damn, this character is kind of badass. We haven't seen this in a while. That's what I want. I want people to be able to enjoy that as they're reading, as they're seeing it. And of course, it's the beginning of something new within this genre, if you want to say, you know. And from there, everything else, just let it unfold on its own. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yo, I'm gonna do a 10-year plan. Yo, I don't even know if I'm gonna be alive tomorrow. You get what I'm saying? It's like, yo, come on, let's be real. I'm just taking it one by one, and as it grows, let it just expand on its own and take its course. And I believe in y'all. I know that y'all gonna support it and stuff like that. I know that most of y'all gonna enjoy it. And that's cool. I'm not here to say, yo, everybody's going to enjoy it. I'll be bullshitting you and I'll be bullshitting myself. I'm not. That's like DC saying, yo, we're gonna please every fan. Impossible. You cannot please everyone. And I know that. This is why I'm saying it from the beginning. This comic is not for everybody. This is gonna be, like I said, for mature people. This is not for kids. I'm telling you straight up from the beginning. This is not catered to kids. I don't want it to be for kids. I want this to be for mature people where they can read it and appreciate the content that's coming from it. You don't hear companies telling you that. These companies are all about, yo, what agenda we're gonna push and how we're gonna push it. It doesn't work like that. It really doesn't work. This is why you see all these companies, they're struggling now, because they don't care about quality anymore. It's about how they push whatever trash agenda that they're trying to promote. And I'm not down with that, honestly. I really am not. It's completely it's completely insane on how things have shifted and stuff like that. Let me see the James Gunn fans running around David Cornsweet, Superman, Underoath, and making autistic noises. Messed up. We believe in you, CS. Appreciate that. Thanos, I'll do it myself. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And you got to look, I'm telling you straight up. This is just, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to rattle some cages in the industry because when they start hearing about it and stuff like that, I'm telling you right now, this is gonna get attention. I'm telling you, it's not my intention to do that, but it's just gonna come with it. But it is what it is. James Gunn and fan art, not what they want to do future DCU. That's why they never tell the truth. Yeah, they don't tell the truth. You call this CS. Yeah, I just been saying, and from what I've been seeing and stuff like that. You should put Restore the Snyderverse on a billboard in your comic. That would be dope. Yo, you never know. Maybe I might throw something in there with that. You know what? I think I will throw something in there, like an Easter egg, if you want to say, with that. So don't be surprised. I think I know the perfect spot where to put it at. I just drew a scene earlier today, and I think I might put that because there's like a billboard that I don't have anything. I might throw that in the background just for the hell of it and stuff like that. And you'll see like little Easter eggs, things like that and stuff like that. So that'll be a nice thing. James Gunn in due time will probably make Superboy bisexual, comic book accurate. Just probably knowing James Gunn, that's what he does. Batman 2 scripts turn out boring again. Yeah, most likely. I'm not interested in that, honestly. I really don't care what they do with Matt Reeves and that boring universe. Matt Reeves was lying. He wasn't sick. Matt Reeves just sleepwalked. Zack Snyder Justice League united the fandom. WB and Gunn were the ones who divided it again. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Don't worry. See us sooner or later. You would join us. Yeah, I saw that one. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right. Uh, haha. I see a troll in the comments, but whatever. I'm gonna ignore that right now. So yeah, that's pretty crazy, when it comes down to this and stuff like that. So, like I said, I'm excited to finally share this with y'all soon. Like I promised, this week I'm gonna be posting up something, so I'm just gonna update the website. I'll put everything there so you guys can go and download those files and stuff like that, so y'all can read and enjoy and things like that. Let's see. Do you think HBO Max and Comcast will announce any plans soon? Probably not yet, but maybe I'm thinking we might hear something, maybe just rumors, but probably we might hear something towards like December. Why do I say that? Because last year, I remember that they were announcing I forgot what it was besides the James Gunn stuff that they were saying things, but they tend to do like not announcements officially. Sometimes they will, but like we'll hear a lot of rumors and things like that. So who knows, like for sure they're going to be promoting that whole thing with Comcast and HBO Max in January. So probably, like I said, that's one thing that they're really going to start marketing. Don't be surprised if you start seeing like some type of announcement or marketing with that like coming already, like in probably what, October, November, December. Yeah, like the 3 months, 90 day mark starts in October. That's what usually happens 90 days before whatever the big announcement and stuff like that. But yeah, that's I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Anything could happen, honestly. Anything could come from that. Where's the website going to be posted at? Oh, I'll make the announcement and stuff like that, so y'all can actually see it and things. I haven't made it live yet, just because I'm working on it. That's why you won't find the website yet, but I'm working on it right now. And now that I have these images and stuff ready to go, I'm gonna use some of those and put them on the website, to have actual content on it and stuff like that, while everything gets, everything's situated and stuff like that. So I will also have probably a link, so like whoever wants to already start pre-ordering, their digital copy, you can. That way, like whoever gets it already and stuff in advance, once that's already released, I'm giving y'all priority. Like you get it, like let's say for example, you pre-order it now. Once it's already available, then boom, you're gonna be one of the ones to get it priority. Instead of the people that are like getting it after. I'm not gonna do like GameStop where you like pre-order and you won't get your shit until like months or probably years later. Like I'm not down with that either. I'm just getting straight to the point. It's like, yo, you bought this in advance, you're the first ones that are getting it and stuff like that. That's gonna be the benefit of getting it early and stuff like that. So you can enjoy and stuff. I might do something where like you probably get it like a day, released earlier and stuff before the official date, just because I know like people want the content and stuff like that. So I might end up doing something like that, just the benefit of it, so y'all can enjoy and stuff faster and things like that. The website's gonna be rebeldefenders.com. So once that's already up, like I said, you'll see that it's still in the construction and things like that. So that's where everything's gonna be at and stuff. But again, I'll make a post with the official everything once everything is officially live and things like that. So that way y'all could check out everything and stuff like that. So I'll probably give a little quick bio of the characters as they're coming in and things like that. And like you probably won't see every character, just because until the release of the book and stuff like that, so you can actually see all the characters that are going to be taking place within the first issue. I'm not gonna give y'all yet who's coming later and stuff like that. We're gonna take it one issue at a time, and then from there we'll just continue to go to the next one and stuff like that. So it all could build and stuff like that. Are you going to be in the comic? Nah, I don't think I'm gonna be end up doing like a cameo. Nah, I don't think I am. Not nah, not really. James Gunn might get Adam Sandler as Alfred. You imagine that? That would be so ridiculous. What's your thought on Peacemaker? Peacemaker is trash. Honestly, I saw what is it, season one? I didn't like it. Honestly, I didn't like it. Don't get me wrong, that intro song is catchy. But just that stupid dance, it's like, damn, I can't stand that. And then the season two because HBO Max they uploaded that picture. I mean that video. I was like, this is even worse. It's like it's just garbage, man. I just couldn't honestly. Yeah, you see the inspiration. Yeah, Rebel Defenders. There you go. It's inspired by it. It's inspired by Rebel Moon. It's inspired by Justice League and all that stuff. So, um, that's what it is. That's why, like I said, it's the inspiration is all taken from that and everything that what we were getting with Zach and like I said, like I like what he does. You know, and it just motivates me to do my own thing, of course, but just keeping it original and stuff like that. Do you think Superman succeeded because we are getting more DCU films? No, no, it didn't succeed. But the only reason why the DCU is going to keep on making right now while James Gunn still has a job, movies or productions or whatever the hell he's trying to do, is just because he's in power. That's all. It's like him saying, "Yo, I have the power, and while I have the power, I'm gonna do everything that I can before I'm out of a job. Before his contract is up next year in November. So but financially, Superman, no, it didn't make the number that they thought, and 600 million, for a studio like them, and after 12 years, after the last Superman, which was Man of Steel, is an embarrassment in the sense of they had 12 years to come out with something that, like they were saying, oh, it's gonna hit $1 billion. It didn't hit the $1 billion, and it's not going to hit $1 billion. And at this point, I don't even think it's going to beat Man of Steel. It's nearly impossible. The theatrical run is already coming to its end, and the damage is already done. Honestly, but it wasn't a win. They're claiming victory, that oh, I was so successful and stuff like that, but nah, financially is not, because honestly, if they spent, like, let's just say for example, they like they said, which we know it wasn't, like 200 million or something like that. Let's do the math. 200, divide that, times what they have, 600 million. Okay, split that in half. 50% goes to them, and the other 50% goes to the movie theaters, which is the middle person. They just made back 300 million. I mean, you just made literally back your budget and 100 million on top. But now subtract the marketing, subtract what you have to pay, with the studio, because they still have to pay for the studios and stuff, the lots, and real estate or whatever it is that they have to. So the money's just going down. So it's not a success, financially. Unfortunately, it's not. Um, but it is what it is, and then again, the merchandise wasn't selling like they thought. You can go to Walmart, Target, and you can see all that stuff is overstocked, and most of it has already been hidden the clearance section. So that tells you a lot. James Gunn fans want to get Alan Batman to make Shrek Batman clone. Ben Affleck will not watch Batman 2 and Brave and the Bold. Nah, hell no, I doubt it. I really doubt it. It's not just the theater. You have to think about the toys, commercials, and stuff. Maybe it won't make as much as Man of Steel. Yeah, it won't. That's why, like I said, it's not a financial success. They're just struggling to get back, and they're just trying to overhype it, like, oh, it's the number one movie, everybody's watching, and this and that. No, no, they're just doing that out of desperation because they're trying to make the last little bit of money while they can, while it's in the theaters. But Jurassic World Rebirth, yo, that movie, that was huge. They made so much money. They spent 180 million, and they're up to like past 840 million right now. So yeah, they made a huge, massive, completely, like almost like a 650 million. What, 650, what is it, yeah, 650 million in profit. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's nuts. That tells you a lot. That's really, really crazy. He's just putting out anything until his time is up. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. I think I would at least try to put out some decent content while I have some time left. Gunn is leaving a trail of floppers on his way out. Yeah, yeah, that's what James Gunn does, and that's what his legacy is gonna be. We're gonna look back, if I'm still around, like in 10 years, we're all gonna look back, and we're gonna be like, what the hell happened during that era? We're gonna be so in shock, and we're just gonna be like, that's terrible, like that's crazy. Meanwhile, we could sit here now 12 years later and still talk about Man of Steel like it was just released like within the past 5 years. That's crazy. That's what quality is about. Quality does that. You can keep on talking about it. You're always gonna find something new. You're always gonna find something to talk about, because that's what quality is about. You don't get that anymore. You really don't. And it's wild. It really is. Pedro, what's up? Yeah, restore the Snyderverse. You already know. Don't get me wrong, I like the DCU, but I don't think it won't come back because after 2020, the film quality fell off just like Birds of Prey and Black Adam and other. Anything is possible, like Ben Affleck said, so anything can happen. Um, you know, Anything is possible, and that's what they said about the Snyder Cut, and we have it. So, if that was possible, anything else besides that can. Do you like Scott Adkins movies? From the top of my head, name me one because I don't know his movies right now. Um, yeah, I can't think of one right now. Matt Reeves might get Condiment King make villains for Batman 2. Yeah, that's what the rumor was going around. And if it does happen, that's courtesy of James Gunn. Because we know that James Gunn, again, loves to bring these weird characters. And I think at this point, let's be honest, I just think that the Batman 2, that's going to get a tax write off. I'm seeing that, you know. I could be wrong later. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I think that movie's gonna end up getting a tax write off in the end. And what I think is gonna happen is, like I've been saying, Robert Pattinson is gonna end up joining James Gunn's DCU, and that Condiment King, that would be James Gunn's up his alley, and the same thing with Batmite. Condiment King, straight up, I wouldn't even know what to think about that. Just the name alone, and Batmite, I'm interested in seeing what the hell James Gunn can do with that character, and if he's willing to bring in Robert Pattinson, decides and accepts that he wants to join the DCU, which I highly doubt. He's most likely gonna him and Matt Reeves. I think they're gonna end up just walking out in the end, and that movie's just gonna end up getting canceled, and it's gonna get the Batgirl treatment. They're just gonna end up, doing a tax write off. That's what I think. I think that's what's gonna happen and stuff. Hard Target 2. I don't recall that movie. Hard Target 2. I really don't remember right now. Um, no, I'm just saying, because life is unpredictable, and I'm just talking, just saying, like things, because it's like, yo, in 10 years, I mean, life is fast, it's just it's a blink of an eye, 10 years is gonna fly and stuff. Like I'm in shock. I'm thinking about it now that we're talking about it. I'm like, damn, 12 years ago we got Man of Steel. That was 2013. I remember that, and I'm like, damn, how 12 years has passed, and then we just keep looking back. It's like, shit, it's scary, like time is it's a scary thing, I'm just talking in general and stuff like that. Let's see, John Wick 4, the fat bad guy. Oh, okay, that one. Yeah, John Wick 4 was pretty badass, honestly. I liked it. I didn't like the ending, but it was good. Patterson wasn't a big enough hit to warrant continuing. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Robert Pattinson, he's not. He doesn't sell like that. It's like I said, when I first saw it, Robert Pattinson was gonna be Batman after Ben Affleck. I was like, yo, like, nah, man. I was like, nah, that ain't Batman. I'm like, till this day, he's still not Batman. Like, he just doesn't have it. I don't know. It's just something about it. With James Gunn, he should use Batmite 2D or CG Elf Goblin. I guess use both. Use CG for certain things, and screw it, just use some real life type of scenes if he has to do it. I mean, I'm just interested in seeing what the hell is Batmite. That's it. Like I want to see what the hell is James Gunn's obsession with that character. Like I said it. This is probably the third time that I'm saying it. Like I want to see James Gunn. Real talk, like no bullshit. I'm not. This has nothing to do about supporting him or oh, you're not switching. No. There's nothing of that. I'm just interested and curious on seeing what can James Gunn do with this character that he keeps on talking about, because he's so convinced. Every time that James Gunn talks in an interview, he always brings up Batmite, and I'm like, I looked up the character. The character is like completely stupid, and I'm like, how the hell would James Gunn pull this off? And I think James Gunn would be the one to pull it off because, like I said, I'll give credit to James Gunn. He knows how to pull these weird characters. He did it with Starro, a freaking starfish on the Suicide Squad. I didn't like it, but that's what James Gunn does. He did what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, yo, Rocket Raccoon, that's a character that I like, and I was like, yo, how do you even bring that to the real world? And he brought it. I was like, okay, cool, he did it. As Marvel, that's up his alley and stuff like that. And now what he's doing with Peacemaker, I'm like, yo, season one was not what I want to see with DC. And now with season two, I'm like, I don't know what the hell anymore. And I don't even plan on watching it. I'm not even like, yo, I'm gonna go look for it and stuff. Nah, I don't care about it. But I am interested in seeing what the hell, because he's so like he's so convinced that, yo, this is the third time that I keep hearing James Gunn saying, yo, he brings up Batman. I'm like, all right, don't talk about it, be about it. Like, I want to see what you're gonna do with that character. Like, make me believe that Bat might, like show me who the hell that character is. Like, I seen them in the comic. Like, I did a Google search and I researched them, but I want to see what the hell can James Gunn do with that character to bring him into a live action film. Like, I'm just curious, not cartoons. I want to see a live action version of that character. Would he do it like Scooby Doo? I think that would be the best way to work on it and go about on it. Um, but I don't know. Again, I'll be like, yo, like, I don't know. I really don't know. Jeremy, what's up? What's up? Appreciate you for watching. Also, the other flops were because James Gunn announced a reboot, and that was the point of watching it in theaters. Yep. He was just trying to get people to go out there and stuff like that. James Gunn might put Teen Titans DCU style and copy his Teen Titans Go. Who knows? Who knows? DC is Marvel 2.0 now. Yeah, I agree with you. James Gunn will bastardize Batman. But that's what I want to see. Can it be worse than what people are saying of Peacemaker season two, the orgy scene? I mean, everybody. I mean, after I've seen reviews of people talking about how disgusting that orgy scene is like, that's what that is. It's just the name alone is disgusting. But it's like, what the hell, like, what would James Gunn do to bring that character? Like, I don't know. That's something where I'm like, what the hell would he pull to do that and to make that happen? James Gunn have no put Brave and Bold year from Batman 2 2027. Let's keep it real though. Some DCU movies weren't that good. I probably like maybe 4 or 3 from the DCU. Yeah, because those other movies, they weren't really what Zack Snyder had, and they're not really from what Zack Snyder originally, had created. But I give credit to the director, but it's always the studio. The studio is the one that ruined everything. Because when you look at Shazam, the first Shazam, even though it was shitty, it wasn't as bad as Shazam 2. Shazam 2 is just straight up on another level of garbage. The first Shazam, at least they acknowledged Ben Affleck's Batman. They did like they did bring in, Henry Cavill's Superman version, even though they didn't have his face on it, his head, but it's the same Superman from that same universe. So I give, I think it was David Sandberg, or I can't remember right now, the director, but he tried, he did what he could, but that was just the studio saying, you know what, nah, we don't want to roll with that. And who knows what the hell happened? Again, it's just creative differences and stuff like that. But you can see a big difference, from Shazam to Shazam 2. Shazam 2 is garbage. Black Adam, even though it's from the Hamadaverse, I enjoyed it. Like, compared to what we're getting now, I'm like, it was still entertaining. You take away the stupid jokes, I was like, all right, like, it's one of those out. All right, screw it, I'll watch it. Like, why not? And again, you got to give The Rock credit because he brought Henry Cavill. So it's like, again, they were trying, they were fighting, they were doing what they could, and everything just shifted after Black Adam because James Gunn. Once James Gunn came on board, everything got screwed over. Everything just got tossed, and like, screw everything. We're gonna do what we want to do, and that didn't work for them. So um, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. James Gunn may take Matt Reeves' villains not used for Brave and the Bold. Yeah, it could be. He's already doing it with Clayface. We know that was supposed to be part of Matt Reeves, but who knows again what's gonna happen with that. But it's crazy. Let's think about this, real quick because all right, Superman is PG-13. The DCU, it's supposed to be, more comedy, more lighthearted, all this crap. And now, Clayface is gonna be rated R. I mean, it's supposed to be gonna be like a horror. And then now you have Peacemaker, that's rated R. It's yo, what the hell? But there's no restrictions on James Gunn. See what I'm saying? That's the hypocrisy. But it was a problem with when Zack Snyder and David Ayer wanted to do their universe R rated. That was the problem, right? We can't do with Zack Snyder. We can't have the R rating because it's not going to sell, right? And we saw how successful the Snyder cut is because it sold out everywhere. People were watching it. The servers crashed, all that. Meanwhile, with James Gunn, it's R rated and people are not enjoying that. So again, the hypocrisy of the studio, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, honestly. Let's see. All right, they should have let The Rock have some power. It would be better than what we got now. Yeah, but there was a video that I saw. Damn, I forgot to share it with y'all. But there's a video and an interview where The Rock is talking, and he even said it right before everything got canned and they moved everything. He even said it. You know, when you're limited, when you don't have power over different, what is it? Damn, how is it that he said it? He said like what he was trying to say is like, yo, once James Gunn came on board, you don't have anything to say because now he's the CEO. So it's like he was limited. Things were going to change, but of course James Gunn happened, and this is where we are right now. But again, this is why I said, and I made that video today about the Snyderverse getting restored on HBO Max. That could be a big possibility and a big, option for, for the Snyderverse itself and the DCEU. They could do so much with it. And I get it. A lot of people didn't like Zachary Levi, but we haven't seen them under the guidance of Zack Snyder. And I'm sure that if Zack was to, have him back and say, yo, we're gonna do Shazam this way, I guarantee you, I think I would like it, honestly. And it won't be like what we got in the last movie. And again, I know some people are like, yo, he's an ass and this and that. Yo, I don't care about the actors in real life in the sense of what they do and what they do with their personal life. I don't care. I really don't. Ezra Miller screwed up. That dude straight up screwed up and whatever. That's him. I don't care. I just care about the continuity of having these actors and actresses. I get it. A lot of people don't like Amber Heard because of whatever. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to see the same people come back and reprise their role and just finish for the sake of the movie what we had. Because I don't like when they recast somebody and I'm like, damn, yo, like it just throws me off. It really does. And when you have the same people just continuing until everything is finished, cool. You get a standing ovation. But there was so many restrictions with Zach. Everything was a no with him. He had to fight the studio, but we still got what we wanted because we got the Snyder cut. We got Batman vs Superman, the ultimate cut. And we got, even though it's not the air cut because we're still fighting for that, but at least we got the R-rated version of Suicide Squad. It's much better than the theatrical studio squad. That's for sure. But it was all the studio's fault. It's not that the fans didn't show up. It's not that this and that. It's the studio. And the studios would in the end, that they're the ones that call the shots. They're the ones, like, they're the ones paying for it and things. Um, so it is what it is, I guess. In due time, I guess things can change and stuff. I prefer Green Lantern from 2012. At least we got Green Lantern movie. Yeah. And Ryan Reynolds was supposed to come back and stuff. So, again, the studio didn't allow it and stuff like that. So it is what it is, I guess, at this point. But things could change. The same way that they changed for the Snyder Cut, they could change for this also. Yeah, James Gunn needs to be investigated. Heavy, heavy. James Gunn wants what's his name? Takiki, whatever his name is, the director Wonder Woman to be Thor MCU. That would be completely foolish, honestly. Um, all right, let's see. You said the same thing about Christopher Nolan's Batman. Oh, okay, Thomas Steven. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At this point, it's just pretty wild and it's pretty nuts and stuff. Do you watch Mr. Phenom? Nope. I don't even know what that is, honestly. I haven't really kept up with anything now, just because one time it's just too much and stuff like that. But yeah, with that, I'm about to get going. I appreciate y'all for watching and all that good stuff. I'll be back again tomorrow. We'll talk about and stuff, whatever we find out over the weekend and whatever happens from here to tomorrow and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep on drawing and getting this trying to work on this comic and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep y'all posted. I appreciate y'all for watching. Y'all stay safe, enjoy your Saturday, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Peace.